Hey, what is good, everybody? 801 ring
Yo, yo,
time.
yo! What is going on?
We've got Meduzi here and Sunny K9
Oh,
and Miranda Gordy tonight. Welcome. How are
Hi.
you doing tonight?
welcome, welcome.
How you
Thank
doing?
you so much for having me.
Thank
The Queen
you.
of Bad Street.
So, this is exciting because you're going to be in Utah in a few days, and you're going to be in a match at the STF event, the Grand Prix, which is coming up on February 24th. Um, have you ever been out here? Is this your first time?
So I have been to SCF one time before, and it was, I believe, February or March of last year. Um, I was scheduled to wrestle, and they had like a women's cup tournament, and unfortunately, in the time that I took the match to uh, the actual date, I had torn my ACL, unfortunately, and I had ACL surgery. And so Darren was nice enough to bring me out anyways. And so I got to hang with Medusa and, of course, the rest of the wrestlers and stuff. And he had a great crowd, and I had a good time. But this time will be my first time wrestling there. So that's pretty exciting.
That's cool. So you were able to meet Medusa. What was that like? She's like a queen of
She is
a
a
revolutionary.
legend. What? Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
she's such a legend. And she's like criminally underrated, like when people talk about women's wrestling, like I think she's awesome. She's someone that I reference when I go study women's matches. Immediately we'll look her up. And she's awesome. She drives monster trucks, or she did. And she's got like just a cool kick-ass personality. But hanging out with her at the show was awesome. I'd met her a couple times before. Um, she actually agent was my agent, or the agent of the Free Babes in NWA Empower. They had their all women show, and so I got to have Medusa as an agent, which is freaking legendary in itself. So she's an awesome woman.
Damn, just being able to work with Medusa, that is an incredible feat. But hey, to touch on that subject, the women's evolution of professional wrestling has skyrocketed ever since it started about how long, like a decade ago?
Yeah.
And, yeah. And so, what are your thoughts and opinions about where it was and when you started to where it is now? Because now we have women coming from the being the end more at the bottom of the card to main eventing events like WrestleMania. So how is
So yeah, I've only been in wrestling as far as like doing matches about 5 years now. This summer will be 5 years. So it was already kind of started, and so but coming into it at that time is perfect. Like you don't have to be a diva now. You don't have to have. You have to be a model. You can be a fighter, you can be an athlete, you don't have to be a certain size and a certain bra size. Like you can just go out there and kick butt, and a lot of people are recognizing women are just as much athletes as the men are, and that's what's cool. I think it's the perfect time for women, and
especially
um yeah, so I picked a good time to be in it.
especially during this day and age, people like Luna Fashawn or Sensational Sherry being delegated to managers or valets, if you will, it would be degrading during this day and age, because they were both amazing athletes in their own right.
Oh yeah, and they like both of those women are such legends. Like they could take on any role because all roles are important. And they were able to also make a name for themselves, and they were outside the kind of cookie cutter divas thing. And they were outside the valet, but they could valet. So that's what they could do. Whatever roles were made for them at the time, and they did their job and stuff, and so they help people along the way and whatnot. So both legends, both rest in peace for sure. Also, two women that I referenced, maybe not Luna, because she's a little bit crazy, but she was awesome. Like, I loved her as a kid. I remember watching her, and I'm like, this woman's nuts.
Yeah,
Her and Gangrel, and
yeah, she was an
but
amazing girl.
Sensational Sherry, man, she was, yes, and she's criminally underrated as well. Like, people just do not talk about her, and she's someone I also reference when it comes to women's wrestling.
Nice. So, what about China?
China is my favorite. So
She's my favorite.
All right.
She's
when
world, what, eighth place in the world?
eighth wonder of the world, and man, so of course, growing up in the '90s, the Attitude Era, I love DX, but gosh, I love China. She
If
was
I'm
just
not mistaken,
I think
the
she's
only woman to hold the Intercontinental Championship in the WWE.
yeah, exactly.
Definitely. And
I
talk
kinda- I-
about
I-
Universal.
I
Like,
want to
she
see
could-
something like that again. That'd be great. Like if Rhea Ripley were to take the Intercontinental Championship from Gunther. That
Oh
would
yeah,
be epic.
she could. She could.
yeah. I love Rhea Ripley too. I think she's great. I think that she just organically got over, and she worked hard for it, and she does such a great job. Like, she was made for it. So kudos to her. I've been following her for a while.
Okay,
But China, I never not talk about China because she was my favorite. And like, no matter what, I always say it's her. She just touched me as a kid. Like I was like, this woman is so just the baddest, and she was hanging with the guys. And I don't think she got enough credit for everything that she did. And she's totally my inspiration for a lot of things. So yes, always China.
I have a question, and it might be a sensitive one. R.A.P. to your father, Terry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear about that. That was recent. That was 2021, right?
2001. Yeah.
Oh,
So it's been like 20 something years. Yeah. So it's okay. Obviously it's a big part of my life, and it's a big part of my wrestling career. It's something that kind of his death is something that kind of set the trajectory for my life. But through wrestling, I've found like a lot of healing. Like, for a long time, I really didn't care for wrestling. Like, it's what he did. It took him away from home. Of course, with all the unanswered questions, you think, well, what if he wasn't a wrestler, or what if he just stayed home? What if he was a bank teller, or like like a Walmart greeter or something like that, just something like normal, I guess. But like I said, getting into wrestling, I kind of got over hating it, and kind of felt like that I got some healing from it, just kind of understanding and stuff. So, and it's got me out there, and I've done all kinds of things in life that I never thought that I would get to do. So kind of two in one.
Do you think if he would have been like a banker or a grocery store worker or whatever, do you think you would still be a wrestler?
I don't know. And it could be, I have had the hard feelings for wrestling. I don't know. Like, my life would have been totally different. I could have been a doctor. I could have been something else. Who knows? I try not to think about that, but it is something that does cross your mind, and people do ask, and so you have to think about it. Like, what would life have been? It could have been totally different, for sure. Like, I might not even have ever heard of wrestling, or been like, oh yeah, I've flipped by it going through the channels. I might not have ever heard of it. So
would you say that pro wrestling chose you, other than you choosing it?
I'm gonna say yes. And it's so weird. Like, obviously my dad, so I grew up in wrestling, around it, I'll say, not in it, like not in the business, but definitely around it. And of course his tag partners, Buddy and Michael being with the WWE and stuff. And so occasionally I would go up there, and there would be wrestlers hanging around or whatnot. But I think that, well, I didn't want to get into wrestling, but it just kept kind of finding me in life, and like little subtle hints around. And like, when my dad went to the Hall of Fame, I was kind of done. Like, I don't have to deal with wrestling ever again, and then like it just kind of kept coming up and things that I liked and things that I did. And one of the biggest ones was I worked for a cleaning company, and we had a partner company that was a nonprofit that cleaned houses for women undergoing treatment for cancer.
Mhm.
And I remember people tagging me in this post uh, of my partner with like Linda McMahon, and now they're like doing stuff together. I'm like, oh my gosh, I like literally work for a cleaning company, and now my bosses all hang out. Like, it just doesn't like just little things like that. And I don't like people would ask me to come do stuff, and I don't somewhere. I guess I say that I lost it. I say that I went nuts and just gave into wrestling, and so here I am, and it's been like such a crazy, wonderful adventure. So I think that it chose me. I think the universe, even if it was just for everything that I've already done in wrestling, I think the universe chose me to be in it for whatever I've done so far, and hopefully a lot of stuff in the future.
So Terry Gordy Senior is your father, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then you have a brother named Terry Ray Gordy Jr., right?
Yes. And so he was a wrestler too.
So you're
And he
second
went
brother.
by Jesse.
You
Do
said
what?
what?
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
You said your brother was a wrestler. Is he no longer a wrestler?
No, oh, no. So he wrestled as Jesse from Jesse and Festus, if you remember them. He did that from like I think it was like 2007 to 2010. Like he had a little stint at WWE, but it wasn't long, and then he went into law enforcement. So
Oh,
yeah. And he did it before that. Like he wrestled in Japan. He did a lot of stuff with Noah, and um back early 2000s he worked like NWA Wildside down, I think it was like either Georgia or Alabama, which is way back like early 2000s. So some people probably won't remember that. Um but yeah, he did it for a while. He's known as Jesse and
mhm.
Festus.
And
So
your father was known as Bam Bam, correct?
yes, yeah,
Bam
Terry
Bam
Bam
Gordy,
Bam Gordy of the Fabulous Freebirds.
who are in fact in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yes, they are. They went in 2016.
Mm.
Michael Hayes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, Michael
Michael
Hayes, Buddy
Hayes.
Roberts, and then Buddy was older than my dad and Michael, and so at a point he retired and kind of did his own thing, and they included Jimmy Jam, so Jimmy Jam Garvin. So some people count him as a free bird as well.
Nice. So what is it like to be from that?
From like growing up, well, I mean, it's been interesting. It's been different. It's been a different life. Um, I mean, it was cool. I have some cool wrestling stories, like knowing a lot of the wrestlers and a lot of the wrestlers that were my dad's friends as a kid. And like I just shared a memory like 2 days ago of like my dad holding me with I'm in one arm and he has a beer in the other hand, and he's talking to Tommy Wildfire Rich, and he's got like a reporter around him, just cool stuff like that, and being able to do some cool things. Like I did my senior project, which is a big project, your senior year. You got to like write a report, and you had to like go out and do the thing. Like one guy did skydiving, so he actually skydived, and
Oh,
I
okay.
did it on the WWE, and
All
so I
right.
got to interview a bunch of wrestlers and stuff, and so that's cool. You got that connection, I guess,
Who was the
that I
most
can just
interesting
like,
one with
hey,
you?
can I come to the show? And so stuff like that, and being able to do stuff that people would just like, just be so super excited to do. Like they would probably pay a lot of money to do that stuff, and I've been blessed to be able to just kind of do it as far as wrestling goes.
Who was the most interesting wrestler you interviewed that night?
You know what? I'm gonna say Vince McMahon. I got to
Oh,
interview Vince
really?
McMahon.
You
Whether
know
you
what?
count him as a wrestler or not, he did his matches or whatever. But I assume he's probably the hardest to get to interview, like for a high school project, and I got to do that. So I'm going to say Vince
Wow.
McMahon.
You would be the baddest
That's
girl in
cool.
my school if you would have went to school with me. I
So
would have
that's
been
kind of
like,
why I did it. Like, was just because I could. But also I wanted to ask John Cena to prom, and I did. And so, because he had just come out with a Marine, and like I'm like,
oh,
this is
okay.
gonna be it. I'm gonna ask him to my prom, and I'm gonna be the coolest kid.
I
And
feel like that, baby.
they were in Europe when my prom was going on, but
Aw.
he made it cool. Like I asked him, and he put his arm around me, and he said something nice to kind of appease it. And like I was like, that's really cool, whether he comes or not. Like being a kid, I'm like, regardless, like John Cena's a cool cat.
Yeah. How often do you get to ask John Cena to the prom? I mean,
Right.
Right. What did he say? What did he say though? Was he like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not in the same country"?
He,
knowing John Cena, he must have said something smooth and fly. He just
I
got away
forgot
with
what he said. He's like, I'm gonna have to look at my schedule, but if I'm open, I got a date and it's gonna be great. And he put his arm around me. Like it was cool. Like he really played it off
Aw.
well. So kudos to him. Like I don't even mind that he was in Europe.
it. Hey, shout
They
out to
were
John
on a European tour then. So yeah, I'll still take the date. No, I'm just kidding. So,
You'd be like,
anyways.
"Oh, wait, John." Right?
So, with your father being a WWE Hall of Famer, that must put some kind of pressure on you to not necessarily follow in his footsteps, but not to fill his shoes necessarily. But do people expect more out of you, considering the fact that you are the daughter of a Hall of Famer?
Yeah. So getting into wrestling, like there was the big, I don't know, people just thought that I had been trained already. I guess
Right.
they didn't
Grew up
consider the
around
fact that my father passed when I was 11, and I kind of didn't want anything to do with wrestling. And so they just automatically assumed I was trained. They knew, or they assumed that I just knew everything and I knew everybody, and like I'd been a part of it my whole life, and that just wasn't the case. And so I think that there was a lot of pressure put on me at first because people expected me to just be him, and
Mm.
like
Did you
he
get a little
wasn't.
defiant on that? Is that why you kind of didn't really like wrestling that much for a while, or
Yeah, like I just didn't want, like, I don't know, I guess I wanted it to be for me and not for everyone else telling me that I needed to be in wrestling, because you know what I mean. And so like yeah, like I just didn't. It was already a pretty, traumatic event of losing a father, but then constantly being like, I don't Facebook messaged, or I guess I don't want to say bothered, but people just always bringing it to your attention. And so it's like, why would I want to immerse myself in it anymore? But I was wrong. So not to be like a Debbie Downer, I'm glad I finally, like I said, lost it and joined wrestling, because I've had a lot of cool experiences. But I guess it's just what life was throwing at me, and I had things to learn before I got in it. So I just chalk it up to that. Um, but yeah, I think that people they just assume that I'm going to be great. And like, I mean, I played some sports in school, but I wasn't like some major athlete. And so not only am I having to learn to be athletic and work out, and not that I've been like unhealthy and I've always kind of worked out, but like intense workout, and then bumping and learning to wrestle and learning everything about wrestling from the start, basically, like clean canvas. And just then you're getting into like people that, I don't know, the fandom and stuff. And so it's a lot. It's taken on a lot, um, all at once. And people just thought that, oh, I should just know it. Like I should just know who people are and stuff. So yeah, now I kind of just don't care. So I mean, just to kind of say it like that, like, you either, like me or you don't. You have to understand I've only been doing this 5 years. And I mean, literally imagine like a clean canvas, and I'm starting from scratch. Like you're literally just doodling me like I was fresh clay when my trainer got to me. So,
nice.
and I've learned a lot, and I still have an infinite amount of things to learn. And so as long as I'm still learning, as long as I'm still doing it, and um, putting in the work. Like I've put in the work So, like I said, I don't care. I've trained, I work out, I've gotten my body in the best shape it's ever been. Actually, I've done more work than some people 10 years in the business. So,
Nice.
my passion doesn't look like other people's passion, and that's okay. Other people didn't have a father in wrestling that passed. So it's kind of like, I don't care. If you're going to judge me, I'm not going to think about you at all. So,
Right.
one way to put it.
Right
So
on.
Not to
talking
be
about
like a Debbie Downer. I don't like talking more negative than positive ever, but it's whatever.
yeah,
So
it's life. Like there's no filter on this anyway.
Yeah,
So
there
okay,
can't be ups and downs in life, right?
yeah,
yeah.
that's what makes you stronger. And speaking of that, you're talking about your physical, like working out and everything. What makes you so superb? Like, what is your biggest strength physically?
Ooh, I don't know. I get pretty heavy. I think my favorite heavy day is like my back, which is super important, of course. Of course, I try and go heavy sometimes and I try to mix it up. But I'm going to say my back because I lift a lot of like hay bales and sacks of feed and stuff. So, it's really important to have a strong back and, of course, strong arms. But um, I do a lot of stuff. Like I spend today I did 30 minutes of cardio. Like, so my cardio is all right. Right now I can do better. I've kind of slacked on it lately, but at the same time I'm doing better than a lot of people on cardio. Like who's going to be on the step machine at level 18 for 30 minutes?
Right,
So,
right.
and so like I don't like it just depends on for me, I'm doing exactly what I want to do and how much to be safe in the ring and not kill myself.
Yeah,
So
and that's probably what your advantage is. You started later on and you're not all beat up after 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So
that's
you're
true. I
doing
don't do crazy shit either. I don't jump off the top rope.
you don't. What's the craziest move
Red
that you
fly.
yeah, what's the craziest move that you have
um the craziest I did so I was in Japan and her name she goes by Saki at DDT Pro and I couldn't tell you. It was the craziest shit. I was all contorted, but it's called the Quetzalcoatl, which is I think Spanish for like a pterodactyl, actually.
done?
But that was her move, and she won or whatever. And yeah, like my arm was up, and she had my head tucked somewhere, and we did like a backwards flip. I somehow like it was the craziest shit, and so that's probably the craziest stuff, even though it wasn't like anything super dangerous. I really try not to do anything crazy just because I don't think it fits my character. Like my dad didn't do anything crazy. He didn't do no dives. He certainly didn't jump off the top rope, except for like I've done maybe some cross bodies off the second rope, but um, that's it. Like I don't want to tear up my body. Uh, I don't think it fits me. Um, yeah,
Are you
I
considering
I like when other people do it, and I like to watch them.
is your style more technical?
Yeah, I guess if you could call it that. I kind of just I don't know, I'd call it maybe a little technical, a little bar fight, a little uh just
No,
kind of whatever, like beating them up, ground and pound, you could say that.
like catch him a little
So
bit.
I was watching some of your videos, and there's this one. Let me pull up just a picture of it. You were in this match with this woman. I forget her name, but let me get this picture. You were like using some strength moves where you guys were really like stationarily wrestling. Like your strength, both of you had incredible strength, and you were just like holding her to where she could not do anything, and you're standing up,
Like a bear hug or
like
Oh,
something?
like a bear hug. Yeah, like I could do stuff like that, yeah.
I could see your grip and your strength where you guys were both frozen. It was just opposing strength against strength. It was kind of cool to see. Like, it wasn't anything like fancy or anything, but I could see the strength.
Yes, and Casey Carlisle's like a 20-year vet. Like she's been in it for a minute, and she's great. Actually, like I said, I was in my first year of wrestling right there, and she absolutely helped me with the match, and like she was a sweetheart, and like 90% of that match was just her calling it in the ring. Not to break kayfabe, but like she was absolutely just ring general and leading my green self along. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah,
And so
that's
like I
awesome.
actually really love that match. It definitely sticks with me of all the matches that I've done. That's one of the coolest ones because I don't know. I just thought it was cool. It was a big crowd. The environment, everything was fun. And Casey was a blast to work with. But yeah, she's a beast. That wasn't my strongest. Like I said, I was just getting into it, but I was starting to work out, and so I felt beast too. And we just
Well,
went at it.
that leads to a question I have. What is your biggest championship?
My
What's your
biggest
biggest?
championship. The biggest one I think that I've held would probably be the SWE Women's Championship, which SWE is no longer around. However, when they were around, they were a big deal. They were on the rise pretty fast. They were coming up 2019, 2020, up to 2021. And they were making headlines and stuff. Like they were killing it. And I won the belt off of Jazz, the legend Jazz, who is also just a beast. And I love working with her. But I had won a match against Jazz. She'd had it. And I retained it for a long time. And for a while, that was my home promotion. So I think that one, I've held some other great ones. Current ones that I've held, like the Lockettes champion, women's champion at Rocky Mountain Pro. Where else? BOW, which is Branded Outlaw Wrestling in San Antonio. Um, Steel Domain Championship in Minnesota. I had their women's title. That's just three, but I've held like so many. Texoma Pro Women's Champion, which I'm wearing their hoodie right now. Their Texoma Rose. That was my first championship. Actually, was the Texoma Rose out of Sherman, Texas. Trying to think. I'm the forever. Uh, I guess it would be USA Championship Wrestling out of Jackson, Tennessee. I'm forever their women's champion because they're no longer with us either. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
Hey,
though.
they
That's
can
cool.
never take that away from you, though.
no, they can't. Unfortunately, the promoter passed. But a cool story about that. He was wonderful. Burt Prentice. He was also well known in the old school wrestlers and stuff. He'd been doing it since the 70s, I believe. Um, but he did not have women's wrestling at his show before I came along. And he just instantly loved me and was like, he didn't, gosh, sorry, he didn't care for women's wrestling. And like I said, he fell in love with me and he all of a sudden he started having it. And so I felt like I brought that. Like he might have not ever done that if I didn't bring that there. So, um, that's something. And I loved him. He loved me. And so like, that's always close to my heart is that I got to bring good people in. And then like he started having, like I had a match with Thunder Rosa and then he had like an all women show even. So
Oh,
like
that's
that's,
cool.
he thought that highly of me to do that. That's how I kind of take it.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So, who is your dream opponent? Who have you not faced in the ring that you would want to face in the ring?
Oh, my dream opponent, obviously I'd love China, but nowadays it's probably a tie between like Charlotte Flair and Natalia. Both second
Mm.
generations and both wonderful in their own regards. Like Charlotte Flair, I think is amazing. She is the top, like she's the queen, she's wonderful. But Natalia's a workhorse,
But that was
like
cool, the Queen of Bad
Uh,
Street and the Queen Charlotte.
the Queen Charlotte,
yeah.
the Queen of Bad Street. Like who's the true queen?
Mhm.
Who gains the
That has
crown?
to happen.
That would be a good story.
Yeah, those two, like I have a lot. Like I can't I could also say if that never happens, two of my trainers. One now on WWE is known as Zoe Starks. She's on, main
Oh,
roster.
what?
Yeah,
Wow.
she was one of my trainers when I first started
Yeah.
wrestling.
All right.
That's who brought me up. Um, and so I would love to actually have a match with her. Like she didn't finish me,
Oh,
and I was unfortunately, I was supposed to have a match with her as my first match, but then she got called to Las Vegas to move. And so, like, the day before that show, she moved and I wrestled someone else. But yeah, I have not got to have like an official match with her. So I'd love that. And then the same with Athena. She also helped later on in my training. Like, I was already doing matches and I got the opportunity to train with her. And so, like, having an actual match with her would be awesome as well.
Nice.
that's what's up.
Yeah.
So, what are some passions you have in life that we don't really know about because everything is focused on wrestling with you?
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff. I stay busy. So I guess you could call my shoot job or whatever. I run a winery / distillery.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yes, out here in Missouri, called Windy Wine Company. I help manage that, and like all the general operations. Like that's me and my partner who owns it, or his family owns it. Uh, he makes the wine, and I do like the upfront, like retail, and we have like a entertainment room, like people can and set and they can eat. We do food, and we have people come and sing and play, and we do like some paint and sips and stuff like that. I
Sounds
also
good.
am on a farm. So my biggest
Oh, okay.
passion has always been, even before wrestling, it's always been animals. So I just love them. And now I have, like I have a horse. I'm on an Angus farm, so there's cows around me. I have free
Oh.
range rabbits. I have several rabbits because they multiply really
And
fast.
they're not prey out there with like I'm in Missouri, you have a lot of like wolves.
Yes. So that's just, part of rabbit math. More survive, but every once in a while something will happen. Like there's one in my bathroom right now that sounds weird. It's in its little house in my bathroom. Its little eyes were matted shut. It's a baby. I could probably go grab him. His name is Creep with a K.
Bring
Um,
it, go grab them.
okay. And this is my cat. This is Strudel Bucatini. This is my little kitten.
Oh,
Hey,
Yeah, he's been napping in my lap, but I'll go grab Creep. His
Uh,
poor little eyes were matted shut, so he has a cold. So I've been treating him for the past 2 days. So rabbits, we have chickens, we have like big chickens, we have small chickens, we have guineas, we have geese. What else? I'm trying to think. Ducks. So just kind of everything. We're looking at getting sheep. So
pigs. Pigs.
No, we don't have pigs. So the farm did have pigs. This is little.
Oh, how
Yeah.
Look at that
cute.
little one.
Oh, its eyes open now.
What? Yeah, one eye's open. I'm not. Oh,
One
okay.
eye open, one eye closed.
Yeah,
Oh,
let me see. Let me see if I can settle down and.
Got some little one, little fluffy
what's his
one.
name?
Creep with a K though. Like
Got some
Creep.
airtime.
Oh.
Aw, Creep getting some little airtime.
Hey, Creep, what's up, man?
Little
What's up? You're
creeper.
famous.
I
You're
was on this
famous.
tile.
Rebel.
Let me see. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but
see his little eye is not. It's not good on this side.
oh,
Oh, it's kind of open. Yeah,
Got
we've been doctoring
better.
it and
I'm sure,
wiping it because
little
it gets
buddy.
kind of pussy and
I'm sure Creep isn't creeped out that you're taking care of him.
yeah.
Right, little buddy.
Well, that's cool. That's awesome. And you did mention that you have some farm work to do tonight. So I don't want to hold you too long, And is there anything else that you want to announce or talk about before we go?
Oh, definitely. For sure. The whole reason for the podcast, I want to see everyone at STF. pro wrestling
Oh, yeah.
this Saturday
Oh, yeah.
for
That's
sure.
it.
I have a match against not Raven Thrash anymore.
No,
Who was it?
No, can't tell you. I talked to Darren a second ago.
Oh, okay. I don't. Okay, so it's a surprise. Well, you didn't spoil anything because I forgot. So I don't know who I'm wrestling.
I know, there's a lot of question marks on the flyer now.
But for everybody in the
But-
Utah area and South Jordan, come check us out
Yeah.
February 24th
And you
at
know,
the
Yes.
South Jordan Community Center. Then
you know
we'll
I'm going
find
to be
out.
a ref, right?
Oh, that's so awesome. That's
Special guest ref for the dog collar match.
oh, heck yeah. Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be so much fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just always ready to beat someone up, always. So
We'll definitely see you there. And everybody, if you need to get tickets, you can look on the ticket.com.
Tix.com.
Tix.com. Hold up. Let me pull it up real quick so I can be accurate here. And you can also get a day of the show. We'll have tickets at the door too. So we're at the South Jordan Community Center on Redwood. It's not too far from
It's not too
the
far. Redwood Road. And act quick because front rows are already sold out. So
heck yeah. Heck yeah. Oh, the center's nice. If it's in the same place, it's a nice place. So they had an awesome show when I was out there last. It looks like they got a lot of cool people on the poster. So I'm excited to see everyone. And like I said, I'm excited to fight out in Salt Lake City.
Nice. I'm just gonna
well, our crowd's getting pretty crazy out here. So
it's www. I'm just gonna write it down here so everyone can see. www.24tix.
Oh, 24tix.com.
Tix.com, and you can find the event and get your tickets. I think front row is sold out.
Front row is sold out.
That's
how
awesome.
it's
Heck
gonna
yeah.
be like. We're already selling out front row. So get your tickets fast.
Yes,
Fast
get
and
your
hurry.
tickets, and you'll be seeing a whole lot of. Oh man, these matches. Austin Aries is going to be pretty dope.
Heck yeah.
Are you familiar with the?
I am. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see him there. I'm sure he's going to put on a heck of a show. So excited to see him, and of course everyone else.
What do you think? Do you think Rick's going to shave his head?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a fight either way, huh?
I don't know. I think he's a fighter. He's a fighter, but he's got some heat. So
yeah,
I just wanted to know your opinion, what you thought. Otherwise, he'll be the Chihuahua, I guess, is what they call him. But anyways, much love. Thank you, Miranda. We appreciate you getting on 801 Ring Talk. We love talking, and we'll talk more. If you'd like to do another little small interview before the show, we're going to do little pre-show interviews and record them. They're not live or not,
and that is Thursday, right?
We'll be doing that Saturday at the event.
Saturday.
I was going to say, I don't know. I'm going to be a little late to the Thursday show.
Right. And also, we have an interview tomorrow night, a lyric night. And then on Thursday, we are going to have a Grand Prix podcast where we're just going to discuss our predictions. And I'm going to be rooting for you, Miranda.
Yes, do it. Always put your money on me.
I'm excited. I admire you. I admire, women wrestlers that pave the way, and I appreciate you. So mad love, and we'll see you Saturday.
See you Saturday. Thank you all so much for having me.
Hey, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate you making time in your busy schedule.
Oh, before we go, we got a lot of comments that we did not see.
Oh no.
We got a lot of comments, and let me just make sure there's no questions.
Yeah, that's fine. I can. Yeah, whatever I need to answer.
Comment on the comments. Just go ahead and look at them and respond, people. And appreciate you. And I hope you have a great night. And everybody.
See you next time.
Oh my gosh, there's so many comments.
Yeah, they just blew up. Let's go. Thank you, everybody, for watching and commenting. And comments later. Miranda's got to go. So Very sweet.